Good evening, everyone. I wanted to come on for just a minute and first of all brag, because do you see this hair? It's sticking up. Yeah, it's doing that, but that's good. That means it's getting longer, which means that in probably 2 months, I'll look like a porcupine. So I don't know whether to keep my hats and my caps and all that, or just do away with it. And if people don't like it, they can stick it where the sun don't shine. But nah, I don't feel that way. But I don't want to look like a porcupine either. I wanted to correct something. I was watching, and this is recommended if you do videos. It's not ego. So just let me explain that. I was watching a video I did last night. God forbid, I must have been on medication out the wazoo, or night before last. Please forgive me for not knowing. I didn't even know I was doing the video, so there's your fair warning. It has happened, and I have stuck a video out there with no knowledge of doing it until the next day. So, first of all, I said, I was talking about marriage, and I said I didn't know any more about marriage now than I did. And then if you watch my videos, you will see sometimes, well, coming from your direction, looking at me, I'm raising my eye to the right, upper right. Every now and then I do the upper left, but mostly I do the upper right. And then also sometimes you probably notice, I must have no pride to get on here with all the mess I got going on. But I have a purpose for it. And no, it's not money. I wish. But no, I was accessing my data, and my data wasn't coming up because I was just, excuse me, I was too sick from being in the hospital and too sick from all the drugs they gave me. And really, this is one of the roughest visits I ever had. So I'm glad it's over. Every 3 months now. That's it. But I was accessing my first marriage date. And I don't feel ashamed to say I've never forgotten my first anniversary, because that's part of who I am. Just like Lee had a marriage with his first wife, and that doesn't negate who he is. And just because it ended doesn't mean, that whatever, something really bad happened or whatever. It just means stuff didn't go right. And nobody did anything horrible to me. Probably Jeff had it much worse than I did. That's the honest to God, in front of Joseph, Jesus, and Mary's truth that I have ever spoken. But the date that we got married was actually not February 27th, and it certainly was not 2079. Where I got that, I don't know. Unless I was thinking graduation, but I graduated in 80, so I don't know. Whatever. The point is, we married February 24th, which was mine and Lee's first date, February 24th, not in the same year. And we married in the year of 1990. But 93 came out because that's the year my angel Janet was born. And she's always going to be an angel to me. It doesn't matter how she views me, how she sees me, what she thinks of me, what she says about me, the truths that she tells, the tales she tells. I don't care. That is still my daughter. I love her above and beyond anything other than Matt and Stephen, or Stephen and Matt. Don't put any emphasis on which way I said that. It doesn't matter either about that. But it's just that we do all make mistakes. And I make a bunch of them while I'm in the hospital. they'll say, well, you just told us such and such, Miss Hodges. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. I've learned enough now to know, quit arguing with your nurse, because your nurse knows exactly what you just said. Nurses are a lot of things. Dumb is not one of them. And thank God for that, because a lot of times I've been glad they remembered what I said. I was like, well, if I said that, that must be right, so let's don't do this or let's don't do that. But anyway, that's where the 2079 came in, and poor Lee has to hear that all the time. I don't know if any of you guys out there do who are caregivers to cancer patients, but if you have a cancer patient that you take care of on a regular basis that uses chemo on a daily basis like I do, then you have probably experienced the chemo fog right with them, and probably standing there chomping at the bit. I can see one in particular, and I don't know why, probably because I know her so well, and I do love her so much, but one in particular I can see in my mind's eye just saying to herself, get on with it, get on with it. But she is too much of a lady and a woman and a mother and a wife and a grandmother to ever say such a thing. So, you know, she just would never say it out loud. My mother-in-law was the same way. My mother-in-law, Lee's mom, not Jeff's mom. So, anyway, the last day, or whatever, the first day I was married was February 24th, 1990. Jana was born September 9th, 1993. So we had a little time in between marriage and conception, so I just didn't want there to be any kind of, well, wait a minute, she got married in 93, she had Jana in 93, wait. No, it didn't happen like that. Everything was kosher. But anyway, I just did want to clear that up and apologize for the random thinking, but I really can't help that. I really can't. I don't even know what to say, and I'm uncomfortable. Sorry. My shower did not relax me. But the other thing I wanted to clear up, sometimes you do these videos and you watch them 100 times on your, well, even if you watched them on Facebook, it's not going to count it. You watch it once, it counts that. You can watch them 100 times after that, and it's not going to count it. But I watch mine on the photo app, and I watched it a few times to make sure, like I explained to Lee, that I haven't made some terrible error or said something terribly offensive, because, you know, we all have that talent. And anyway, I went back and was looking today. Now that the video makes more sense, I was looking back today at something I said, and I really do have to explain myself, and I'm explaining myself because I have a lot of friends who do this that I think very highly of, that I think are true rescuers of our fur babies, cats and dogs and anything else they can find. They are true rescuers in every word, in every sense of the word, but I misstepped, and I do regret that. So let me pick up where I didn't mean to step off. And anytime I come on and correct something, is sincere. Okay, so I made the statement about the difference in dogs, and I think I did that today. Dogs / versus animals. And I made the statement that dogs are not animals who are kept outside all the time and never allowed in the house. Basically, summing it up, that's what I said. And that's really not 100% true. And then I made the distinction, animals are a member of the family and they get to come in and this and that and the other. But a lot of people would say and argue vehemently, Gwen Haygood being one of them, that, you know, if I really loved my babies, they'd be in the bed with me. And they're not. And they're not going to be. Tyson's too feisty. I would love to sleep with Chloe. She'd be a perfect sleep mate. But not Tyson. That is never going to happen. I'm too scared of her or him making me bleed and things like that. And maybe I wouldn't know about it. And then it could be too late. So I have to be really careful about things like that. That sounds stupid, but look, I didn't create leukemia. And I didn't give it to myself. And I would have never chosen this cancer for any reason. I really think if there'd have been a table out there full of cancer goodies, and God said, you can choose any cancer you want, but you got to have cancer, so take your pick and choose wisely, I would not have chosen leukemia, even before I knew what I know. But that is not true about dogs versus animals. I know people who leave their animals out, and it almost cringes me to say this, but in, let's say, 20-degree weather, or snowing, raining, pouring down thunder and lightning, and we all know how afraid fur babies are of the weather. They are just incessantly scared of it. Even when they get used to it, they're scared of it. And, you know, do I understand why people still won't bring their animals in at a time like that? Well, no, I don't. But you know what? It's none of my business. That's what it is. It is none of my business why people make the choices they make. I know my mother would have never allowed a dog in the house. My daddy would have never allowed a dog in the house. Not a cat, not a nothing. That's how they were. So if we ever had a dog, we had to keep it outside and hope for the best. And the best never came because they'd always get ran over or lost. And that's my thing with outside dogs. It's not pinned up good and proper. They do get lost more. They get diseases more. And they do get killed. I don't know how many dogs paved the way from on Highway 15 going to Arkansas that were just frozen straight up. And it's like, I wonder if you have an owner and the owner didn't have any way for you to warm yourself, or the owner didn't do what, thus and so. But that's totally irrelevant. That does not mean they are not that baby's family and he's not theirs. It just means I look at it one way and other people look at it another way, and I'm not a big believer in, you know, you do your thing, I'll do mine. But in this particular case, I am a big believer in you do your thing and I'll do mine. And I'll thank me to stay out of your business because I overstepped. So I apologize to every dog lover and cat lover out there who can't say no, but they can't say yes to letting it come in. And I used to be one of them, so I do fully understand. We typically grow up and become, don't tell Jana, but we typically do grow up and become our parents. And it's like, holy did I really just say that? Or did my mother just come up out of the grave? Nope, I said that. So, you see what I mean? I mean, we're all that way. So, I just felt terrible. I just felt like I said something that was unnecessary, unwarranted, and unasked for. And so, I do apologize. And thank you to every person out there who rescues. I don't care if it's a turkey, Cindy Lester, or a duck, or a whatever, or if you take them inside or you keep them out. I don't care what you do with them. I if you're rescuing, that's one more off the street that's not struggling for food and whatever. And most people do try to make some kind of allowances when it's really cold, like we had it. But trust me, that highway proved there was not enough allowances made. But nobody could do anything about that. It just happened. So I do really love my animals in the house. They keep me a lot of company, and I don't want them in, like I say, I don't want them in my bed, and I have been judged for that. But I just don't want them in my bed. I'm sorry. They can sleep in here on a blanket or what have you, but not in my bed. I draw the line there. It's Lee's job to sleep in my bed. Okay, well, I'm trying to think, because I know I misspoke on something else too. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. The thing you see me do where I said I was married in 2079, or getting tongue-tied and things like that, that's partially permanent and it's partially not. I'll try to explain that. It's permanent in the sense of there was some brain damage done when I had my brain aneurysm. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But I don't even complain about that. I don't even talk about that because, I mean, I may mention the aneurysm, but I don't bitch about it because I feel like that God was so good to me that night. Even though I was written off to hospice to die, He was so good to me that night. How could I ever be ungrateful or unthankful or wavering in my faith? But I'm sorry, I keep moving the camera. But I really and truly, do wish those lingering side effects would go. I was told a year to a year and a half, and it would probably be over with. Over with as in my head would be a little more clear. So let's hope that's true. Because I don't like sounding like an idiot. And 2079 is a far reach. I mean, even you have to admit, even the nicest person on here has to admit, 2079 is kind of a far reach. But I really can't help that. And if you see me accessing information by the way my eyes are raised, then you know that's what I'm doing. And I'm just trying to familiarize you with me, because I've not seen any of you since my brain aneurysm. And you haven't seen me. And it's not the same me. It may sound like me. Some sentences I say may sound like my old self, and some probably sound like, who the hell is that? And then who knows what I sound like. But the bottom line, I'm not concerned about that. The bottom line is that I just kind of like for you guys to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and that I'm not bizarre or off my chain. I'm just simply recovering from a massive brain aneurysm. And am I lucky to be here? Boy, am I lucky to be here. So bear with me. And maybe we only have a few more months of it. It is getting better. But when I first come out of the hospital, it is so much worse. Like, it almost takes me back to when I woke up from a coma and I didn't understand anything about anything. So, just be patient and pray for me when things like that happen, because they're embarrassing, and you got to rise above it and do what you think you're supposed to be doing. And also, you need to realize that we're not here to be people pleasers. So even if I do something that's agitating just try to look beyond it. Like my video, subscribe, and move along if you can't deal with it, because I will certainly understand. Okay, let's see. Was that it? See, now here I am accessing. But I think that was it about that. Oh, when my eyes stick together. Okay, my eyes do stick together. Somebody messaged me today and said, am I seeing things, or are your eyes sticking together in your video from night before last? No, you're not seeing things. My eyes do stick together. It is the result of some damage done to the optic nerve. And, well, I mean, it could be worse. They might not open back up. So at least they stick together and I can feel it. And I'm sitting there in my head thinking, you really need to snap out of this. But, you know, they open when they open. And I don't get any control over that. Actually, how many of you can give me just a hands up? A hands up. If you can honestly say that there is nothing in your control. Nothing. We may think we have control. We may think that we control others. We may think a lot of things. Doesn't make it so. I didn't think there was a Santa Claus, but there is. So, who am I to tell people how to feel? But there's very little. You know, we can control our behavior. We can, you know, if we're not mentally ill, we can control our behavior. We can control our sex life and our thoughts, and we can control many, many, many things. But most things, it's just kind of a done deal, dear. And I've had to realize that and face it and move on with it, because there is nothing I can do to change it. I wish there was. Okay, I am going to now close this because it's been 22 minutes and 14 seconds and counting. And thank you for allowing me to come back on and just straighten that up. And I hope I offended no one, because that would never be my intention in my life. I am doing and trying to live not just my best life, but the best version that there's ever been of me. I'm only 62 years behind. My kids helped me realize a lot of things that I needed to do and change, and my niece did. Lee, being perfectly honest when I asked for it. So, you know, those changes which we can make, get in there and make them. And you know what you need to do. We all know what we need to do. We really don't even need somebody to tell us, hey, can you tell me if you were going to change me, what would you change first? I mean, do you really need to ask anybody that? And if you do, if you were going to change yourself, but you weren't sure where to start, would you ask somebody, be honest with me and tell me, what do you think I need to change first? Would you do that? Because I'm telling you, when you do that, you're leaving yourself wide open for all the horses to come through. But do that. It's fun. It really is. Lee and I did it, and it's fun. And my new soap is making me itch. Oh, my God. So anyway, now that I've totally said something I shouldn't have said, OMG, I apologize for that too. That shouldn't have come out. I shouldn't say it. It shouldn't have come out. But anyway, I do love you guys. Your prayers are with me. My prayers are with you. And I just hope everybody has a great night. Including me. Okay, there we go again. See? Including yours truly. That's all I was trying to say. But did that come out? No. Tyson can talk better than me. And speaking of which, one more question. Why do dogs bark at you? You're their owner. You're the one they love. but they see you coming and they're barking at you. Are they mad at you? Or are they just saying, hey, what's up? Are they, like, where you been? That's usually Bella's meow. Where you been? But I don't know so much about Tyson and why he's barking at me. But he does. He sees me and he barks, and I think, ooh, I hope you're happy to see me because you're going to be really big one day, and I'm going to kind of need you on my side. Okay, guys, y'all are precious, and I will talk to you later.